Wait a minute. Google search profiles? You can actually have a page and get it ranked officially on Google search? This looks oddly familiar and creates a huge opportunity for those who want to make money online, because what Google's doing with Google search profiles might seem like a little step, something harmless. However, it taps into a multi-billion-dollar industry with billions of dollars at stake. And just a few years ago, the United States government slapped Google with a monopoly lawsuit, to which Google answered, hold my beer. And today, we're going to look at Google search profiles and the billion-dollar industry it's threatening. So as we can see here, Google Profiles is primarily targeting influencers, YouTubers, and people that are using different services like Linktree and other things of that nature. We can see that it's pretty simple to sign up. However, they are saying that you do need a minimum amount of subscribers or followers to be included in this program. But let's go ahead and dive in and talk about what this means. With Google Search Profiles, we can see that they have launched this new thing where they want you to host your stuff on their platform primarily so that your links are there. Much like a link in bio, Linktree kind of thing, which we know a lot of creators actually use, and those actually do rank in the search engines. For example, if we were to look at Linktree, we can see that they rank for over 320,000 different keywords, all for different creators and influencers. Meaning, you search their name, like Affiliate Marketing Dude or AI Profit Scoop, and the search is going to Linktree. For years, I have talked about how this isn't the greatest business model and how I believe that everyone needs their own presence on search. They need to have their own domain name, their own website, and host their own content there. This is super important for those who want to make money. However, Google is coming out with these search profiles and talking about how this will actually rank in search on its own. Much like having your own knowledge panel or your own AI overview, these are going through and taking over the search rankings, which is further getting more traffic to Google. Now, when we look at this, we have to look at what Google's stronghold looks like. I've said this many times before, where Google's monopoly lawsuit probably didn't even scratch the surface of what's actually going on. I mean, think about this for a minute. If Google doesn't want you to be seen in search, they control 93% of the search market share. You literally will not be seen in search if they don't want you to be seen. Also, if by some chance you do rank on another search engine and they don't want you to be seen there, they control 65% of the Chrome browser market, the internet browser market, which means if they don't want you to be seen there, good luck. Well, let's say, maybe you want to email people. Same thing. Over 1.8 billion users are on Gmail. If they don't want your email to be seen, it's not going to be seen. However, Marcus, what if I make a video? Then can't that be seen? Well, 2.7 billion people are using YouTube video, which means theoretically, if Google doesn't want you to be seen online, good luck being seen online. That is where we're looking at this, because we're seeing that Google's presence is so dominating, so monopolistic, that there is not even a close second. I mean, it's like they're running the race. They've already won, and other people are still tying their shoes at the starting line. This is super important because when we look at Google search profiles, what's happening is they are migrating yet again to one of their properties and allowing you to be seen. So if you want to be seen on these knowledge panels, you would want to have a Google customizable profile at profile.google.com/handle. Looking at this is important because when we go through and look at the different link in bio type services, we are seeing Substack has like 9 million visitors a month just from Google search. These numbers are just from search. They're actually getting a lot more traffic off of search, but this is something very, very big. We even saw the guy from Patreon come out talking about different issues and things like that, where people can post on Patreon and get paid. Going through, we can see that a lot of these are being threatened, and a lot of them do get lots of traffic. So with Google coming out saying, hey, you need to have this profile, this search profile, I think this is something that is a step in the wrong direction. However, this is going to propose a big opportunity for those paying attention. Primarily, we're seeing that in order to be eligible for these Google search profiles, you need to have a minimum of 100,000 subscribers on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and 300,000 on TikTok. And looking at that, that is going to exclude the vast majority of people, including someone we interviewed on my other channel a couple of months ago that was making a full-time living with less than 7,000 subscribers at the time. So what's happening here is a lot of smaller creators are going to be left by the wayside, unable to claim these search rankings. Who knows what Google's going to show? And that leaves a huge opportunity for those who are going to help them get their traffic, set up websites, make a place where all of their content can be seen. Much like a link in bio or Linktree, which are billion-dollar companies, we can actually go through and start helping people and even make our own. Like for me, for years, I've had my own website at Affiliate Marketing Dude, AI Profit Scoop, and many other properties. We need to understand the magnitude of this because Google Discover right now drives 65% of all Google-originated traffic to publishers, meaning this is just growing and growing and growing, and the open free internet where we can find whatever we want is kind of diminishing. However, I think it's going to make a comeback as people are struggling with AI and all of these new things. Now, when we look at this, we need to understand how much of Google search is actually for people. How many actually go to Google rather than typing in what's the top mortgage rate? How many are actually searching for their favorite creator? Well, we can see here that daily, Google processes 16.4 billion search results, and 44% of that is branded, named searches, meaning they're not just looking for something like a how-to, they're actually looking for a creator or a creator's name or a product name or something like that. This is super important because the real threat isn't just one search query, it's the follow relationship. If you never leave a Google property and Google is the only website that exists in 20 years, I think that's going to pose some problems. So going through and understanding this, I think there's a big opportunity for those who want to make money, helping people create websites with AI, share their content on their own platform, and actually build and grow. Now, looking at this, this is a $1.6 billion industry. We have seen companies like StanStore just literally come out of nowhere overnight and make a bunch of money. Why? Because they're tackling this issue of creators not knowing how to go out there and put their content on a web page. This is where you have companies like Kajabi and Link in Bio, Beacon, StanStore, and many others where they are saying, hey, here's how you can make money off of your audience. Here's how you can build a business. However, a lot of these lack. A lot of these are not created with marketing in mind. There are millions and millions of creators that can make more money by strategizing and talking about different things on their own platform. And if you can understand how to help them, or even if you're a creator on your own, how to do this on your own, that is a huge, huge opportunity, especially now in the age of AI where I could go through, I could take a webinar, a blog post, and I can convert that into something like a PDF, a report, I could build a mailing list. When we start to understand all of this, it starts to really come full circle and you understand where the creators are at, why Google wants this traffic, and what we can do to help them. Even if they're going through and they're trying to meet the criteria for the Google profile, how is that going to work? How can we help them? How can we help them understand that that is one part of a whole? That's not like the whole internet in and of itself. Now, when we start to look at this, we can see that Linktree alone generates 1.3 billion monthly clicks across its pages, with 20% going to retail and e-commerce. Again, looking at something like this, I think many brands would benefit by having their own website. When we look at this and we can see that Linktree charges $24 a month for features that Google's giving away free, we start to realize, oh, wait a minute, should they be paying for Linktree and all of the others? Like you look at Patreon, they take a huge portion of the earnings when people could literally go get web hosting for $9 and do the same thing. $9 and a PayPal button, you get to keep everything except 3%, where Patreon is taking a huge, huge chunk and the conversion rates aren't even that good. So when we start to look at Google search profiles versus Linktree versus Patreon and versus all these other things, this is a gigantic opportunity for those that understand how this works. I mean, for one, I'm going to go out there and start selling web hosting as an affiliate. Web hosting companies pay anywhere from $100 to $300 per sign up. It only costs $9 to the user. It's a better experience than Linktree, in my opinion. It's better than Patreon, in my opinion. And when we start to look at this, it's something where with AI, you can teach people how to use it, you can manage it for them, and now you can set yourself as a complete business. So going through here, what is the biggest threat that Google search profiles have? I think looking at Linktree, Koji, Link in Bio, Beacons, and StanStore are the first on the chopping block, where it's like, okay, now Google's going to have this free, and if you want to show up in the knowledge panel, you need to have this. Again, that's going to be very, very threatening to these types of sites and these types of businesses. Now, when we look at Google's walled garden playbook, we can see this is the same thing they've done before. Google Maps took over Yelp and TripAdvisor. Google Flights took over Kayak and Expedia. Google Shopping, Google Business Profiles, and on we go. This is the consolidation of the internet in one hand. And unfortunately, it's something where a lot of us creators can't really do much about other than create our own websites and build our own audiences. The bigger risk here is that the long-term threat is not just Linktree, it's the independence of the web itself. As Google builds a social subscription layer, follow and discover, creators and their audiences increasingly live inside Google's ecosystem rather than on the independent websites. If you go to something like TikTok, yes, TikTok owns your audience over there, but you don't have to live and breathe in TikTok. Google is different, where it actually owns these properties and these things that we use, like email, video, browsers, search. And when you look at that and combine that, I think it's a very, very difficult path to tread. Traffic flows through Google, not the open web. The creators who survive will be those who own their audiences off platform. Email lists, communities, own channels. This is where the huge, huge opportunity exists to help these creators, help yourself, grow your own audience, build and grow. First, what we want to do if we want to profit from this is claim our profile. So if you have your followers, get your profile. Obviously, if you want to show in Google, use that. Now for me, I'm going to set up the profile. I'm going to have one link, and that link is going to go to my website. That way I could just piggyback on the searches that show up. 2, if you don't have that audience, build towards it. 3, use Discover traffic to build your email list. Discover traffic is powerful but volatile. This is what we see on YouTube, where you're actually having your content pushed in front of people rather than you bringing it into you. We look at search, where people go and search something on Google, find you, go to your website, there you go. However, when we're looking at Discover, this is where most of virality lives. Like if you're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and you go viral, that's usually through Discover. Now, what we want to do here with Google profiles, I'm going to set up a Google search profile. I'm going to pin my lead magnet because I want to build my mailing list. At the end of the day, I want to build that mailing list because that is the most profitable part of any business done correctly. Number 5, if you're running a link in bio tool, if that's something you use, make sure you pivot to e-commerce or commerce. This is where this is heading. We've seen Google change with YouTube, where they're like, hey, host your courses on YouTube. Hey, send your traffic to YouTube. Hey, let's just have all these people here on YouTube going nowhere else. When we understand that, actually, I believe I read it last week, where YouTube, the amount of people that go from YouTube to a website is like 1 to 3%, which is extremely low. And so looking at that, most people are staying on platform, thinking about how can we own our audience? How can we get our audience off platform so that they come to us directly? This is something very, very important. This is where having a good domain name and a website are of utmost importance. If you want to survive, you have to have your own platform. Master discovery and content strategy. As Google Discover becomes more dominant, already getting a lot of the traffic. We need to understand what performs better. How can we get people to go to our websites and what's going on here? Number 7, we want to watch the threshold drop. Google started YouTube monetization at 10,000 subscribers. Then they raised it to 1,000 or something like that. They're probably going to do the same here to get more people on board. And the bottom line is there is a huge opportunity to help creators in this space, help people understand how to monetize their audiences. I believe that on the internet, this is the biggest thing ever. There is so much traffic that is going to so much stuff where people don't know how to monetize it. They don't know how to make money on it. We saw this with the girl who made that crude joke a couple of years ago, went viral. The video was seen billions of times. At the end of the day, she did not make that much money in terms of the audience she had built. Understanding this is key. Understanding how to cultivate audiences, build them, grow them, and make money from them is literally everything. And when we understand that, we can see, yes, there is a lot of traffic out there. What's going on? How do we build it? Again, looking at these Google search profiles, I think it's going to have a good place for those that have really big branded traffic, which takes a lot. I mean, you think about Affiliate Marketing Dude, we have a lot of subscribers on YouTube. We have a lot of things going on. The amount of searches done on my name is actually pretty low. It's not very big at all. So looking at that, I think we need to take an approach of direct response marketing and learning direct response marketing, learning website building, learning how to turn an audience into a mailing list is literally everything. And then we look at the different things that are in Google. This is what's changing. AI is changing this rapidly. We have Google search, knowledge panel, which is like when you search for, some celebrity, say you search for Michael Jackson or something, it's going to have a knowledge panel saying, oh, here's when he was born, here's his net worth, here's his top song, Sony, all these other things it's going to have there. Then you have Google search, which has a mobile card where someone can search and it'll have that little mobile card. Also, Google Discover, where you're looking up similar people. Maybe you look up Michael Jackson and it's like, oh, hey, look up this other artist over here or something like that. Shareable profile URL. This is where you can actually share this. Again, not highly recommended because you're just taking traffic to something you don't own. This is where I've always had a quarrel with things like Linktree and stuff like that, is I don't want to do all this work for them to own my traffic. And you can see here, you have sites like Linktree, which literally owns 320,000 keywords. Top 3 keywords is over 106,000. That means in the top 3 results for 106,000 different creator names, the Linktree is showing up higher in most cases than their own websites. Understanding this is everything because this is where a lot of people fail. Looking at all these other different search panels and everything like that is very, very important because search is changing. AI is making a difference in search. And I think looking at the differences with Google is going to kind of show us where they're pivoting and where we need to pivot so that we can own our audience. The key insight here is looking at active versus passive distribution. Linktree is passive. You have to send people to Linktree or you have to rank in Google. With search profiles, they're actively going to surface on different searches and they're going to drive people to that Google page, which is going to keep them on Google. Now, if you want to learn more about what's happening in the world of AI search, check out AIProfitScoop.com. We have all of the notes from this video and some tips on how to use this to sell web hosting and go through and build a business of your own. So if you enjoyed this video, smash a like button, check out AIProfitScoop.com, and I'll see you in the next video.